I am incredibly excited to have this conversation with Suzi, as I've been working with her for just over a month now. And I just want to welcome you into the conversation, welcome you into this interview. And I'm really appreciative that you took the time to kind of share your story up until this point. So welcome.
Well, thank you. I just appreciate all the help that you've given me in the past month. So it's happy to return the favor.
We've got some work to do, but we've had some really cool wins so far. We're going to highlight those in just a minute. But I want to give a little bit of perspective to the Group Convert Ignite and the Group Convert crowd and the family out there. So I want to start off with your origin story. Just a little bit of background on how you ended up where you are now. So what got you into the crazy world, especially online, of weight loss and health, and now your program that you have, which is just a rock star program called Habitize Health? Where'd you get your start, or why this?
You bet. So happy to tell this story. It's my favorite. This is totally my passion in life. I've been an athlete since I was walking. I absolutely love athletics and sports and movement of all types. So I knew early on that I was going to, develop a career and a love for the fitness space. So I got a degree in health education and became a personal trainer in college. And I started with this awesome group of women that I worked with at the gym that I worked at. And one of the clients actually brought to me this program called 56 Days to Healthy Habits or something like that. And so we did a Christmas style setup where you work on a couple of things for the holiday season. And during that 2-month period, they saw some results. But what the incredible thing was that happened was after we stopped the program is where they really started to excel and progress. So I really got into the idea of, okay, you know what, a little bit of work now that leads to lifestyle change creates results later. So my ears were kind of perked up at that point, and I really was interested in this process. So for the next 7 years, I developed a healthy habits process for my personal training clients. And then in 2017, I had my 4th baby, and I went through a really tough year and a half of postpartum depression that was undiagnosed and totally not the telltale signs. So I didn't know that that's what I was struggling with, but I was having some really hard mental health stuff going on. And I finally sought professional help, and they said, you need to make your mental health your number one priority. And I had no idea how to do that. And so on my way home from that doctor's appointment, I feel what I consider to be divine intervention was I was inspired to try my own programming, but instead of on physical health habits, which I'd been doing for a decade, to do it with mental health. And within 2 months, I completely got my life back. Over a year and a half of struggle, fixed it in 2 months. It was unbelievable. I felt like myself for the first time in almost 2 years and just completely turned everything upside down. So then, being the research head that I am, I was like, how did this happen and why? And how do I replicate these results? So I jumped into research about habits and the mind, and the rest is history. Just, I know for sure that habits are the key to success, whether it's physical, mental, financial, family relationships, whatever it is. If you are able to create habits, everything else, the results that you're looking for, will follow. So that's what's led me to here. And Habitize Health is a program where I help busy moms to automate some parts of their health so that they can spend less time stressing about health and more time having energy and strength and power to do the things that they want to do. I like to say that you, by creating healthy habits, you can think about what you want to think about and not what you have to think about.
That's so incredible. It reminds me of a couple of our clients that I've worked with in Ignite, where their story then becomes their passion. Right. So it then becomes the thing that they want to do and want to work on and want to grow and want to, have that same impact for others, just like you were your own, you are your story. So that reminds me of Heather with her metabolism program in a similar space, busy mom, just really wanting to help other women that were going through what you went through. So that's just incredible. How did you find Group Convert, or Kim?
I looked into Group Convert as a way to get the the membership questions that people join my Facebook group. I have a free Facebook group where I do healthy habits every month. And I wanted the members that were coming into the group, I wanted to be able to contact them and to be able to, find out exactly why they were joining the group and how to help them in the future. But as soon as you accept them to the group, their answers disappear. And so I started to lose that information. And then Group Convert came into my life and I was like, oh, I got to have that piece. And that was so useful just so that I could connect on my members level instead of, oh, hey, some random message, reach out. But it was, okay, when you came into the group, this is what you asked for. Let me help you get that thing. It was very, very useful for that. So I started with just that extension software.
Oh, it's a game changer.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, game changer.
And then, I booked a call with Kim and we chatted for a minute and I just was like, this sounds like exactly what I need. And it's been incredible. I love this program. There's way more in here than I even thought there was. And talk about over delivery. It's been awesome. I love it.
So that's cool because this is a part of the story that I really want to highlight. And I want to commend you on your speed of implementation, right? Because you are a busy mom, 4 kids, right? We have 3 and I'm the dad and I'm going, wow, like, okay, 4 kids with them. I'm like, all right, that's a whole nother level, right? Every time they say the more you have, the less, it gets easier. And I'm like, I don't believe that.
They're wrong.
2 to 3 was chaos. I'm like, no, thank you. So I want to commend you for this part of the story, which is your speed of implementation, because so many things become important on a day-to-day basis. But when it is your passion and it aligns with your journey, you have that desire to want to go help people. And so many people come into the online business space or the coaching space wanting to help, right? Wanting to take their skill and then monetize and get it out to the world and help others just like themselves. So the coolest part about your story is I believe you chatted with Kim, signed up just over a month ago on September 5th, had your first call with me on September 6th, which was a Wednesday, right? So I don't even think you did the onboarding form because we have a really systematized onboarding to like make sure we're organized and getting your offer and all this stuff. And we went through this 90-minute like deep dive audit, which was really cool because the next day was actually your pitch day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This is crazy. So what I love about the Ignite program is being able to tailor it, right? So for you in that moment, the thing you needed the most help with was, okay, my offer is tomorrow. What do I do? And I remember you saying this to me. What did Kim say to you? Let me ask a better question. What did Kim say to you for you to say, okay, I'm ready to increase my price?
Okay, so the increasing of my price, that was a hard pill to swallow. I've always worked with moms and I've always worked with, just women who are already struggling with so many things. And so I feel like to add a financial burden or a financial stress, that was a challenge for me. And so I thought, you know what, I want to keep my price point really low. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing with the low price point is if you're not getting paid well, you don't have the time to deliver well. So when I first started Habitize Health,
hold on. I'm going to interrupt you. Everybody needs to hear that statement. I've never heard you say that, but that just smacked me in the face. Say that again.
I don't even remember what I said. Something about if you don't charge, if you keep your prices too low, then you don't have the time to serve your clients on a high level.
If you don't get paid well, then you don't show up and serve well.
Okay, there it is.
I'll help you out. Okay. I know I stopped you there, but like that would go back to that mindset on that mindset shift for you.
Yeah. So just going from, I used to charge $20 for my program and people were not getting results. Like at some point I just realized, okay, the people who are paying $20 don't show up. It is not enough money to motivate them to stay here. And then after, doing this program several times over at different prices and different things, I found there are benchmarks where when people put up a certain amount of money, they put up a certain amount of motivation and commitment. And then I found out later that also time is related to that. So in order for my program to work, I no longer could work with people for just weeks. It needed to be months. So I needed the people that were committed for months and were committed to, put in a significant amount of money so that they would be committed. It wasn't even necessarily about me. It was about them. And then I was able to give them way more. Now, when they request one-to-one time with me, it's perfect. You know what? I have time in my schedule for that because I don't have to have 100 clients anymore. I can have 10 and be able to serve you because I have way more time to give you way more results. And they're willing to pay for that. And I'm willing to offer that. And it's a way better setup. That's
incredible. Do you mind sharing what your price point was and what it is now? Because some people, when they think, we all have a different perception, right? But we really want to hit that sweet spot, especially in a group coaching, in that 3,000 to 5,000 range. And I know you're almost there, but I want you to share where you were, made the split decision, signed up, talked to Kim, had your call with me, and you're like, all right, we're going. So what was the price point before and what is it now?
Sure. Yeah, I had 2 offers before. I had a 2-month program and a 6-month program. The 2-month was $497 and the 6-month was $997. And I completely bagged the 2-month entirely after talking with Scott. I said, should I still offer this? And he's like, your clients don't get results in 2 months. Get rid of it. So I bagged the 2-month, got rid of it entirely, and only offered the 6-month, and I doubled the price, and it's now $1997. And within 1 day of changing my price, I made 3 sales at full price.
So it took you less than 48 hours to get your first win.
Yes.
Well, actually, it took you one conversation with Kim and then one call with you. So like, let's just compact that speed of implementation all into that little window. So again, I want to commend you for making that shift because let me ask you a question. Deep down inside, did you know you needed to do that?
I really knew that the value of what I was providing was more, but I think I just didn't value myself and my own time enough to charge that much. Like, oh, would I pay this much myself? I don't know. You know, that back and forth with mentally if what the value is. But then after walking through even my value slides with you, you're like, this piece on its own is worth the price of the program. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like, that's totally true. And so there were several eye-opening moments like that just in the hour-long conversation with you, Scott, that I just was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and make the jump. And it worked.
Yeah, that's super cool. You got that immediate validation, right? You got those 3 sales. You went through the process, and you implemented it, right? So what I love about that mindset shift there was like, I know being in business, it can get sticky sometimes where you're constantly trying to like, improve and change and standardize and optimize. And there's all these moving parts. And a lot of the times it's really just getting an outside opinion or an outside look on, hey, what are we doing? Just like it was supposed to be an hour call. I think we went maybe closer to the hour 30, hour 45 mark, but it was a ton of fun. And it was really great to see you come out on the other side and get that win. So I have a couple of questions that I want to ask. And then I want to kind of wrap up in a way and talking about where you're taking it now. So I know you joined pretty quickly, so there wasn't a tremendous amount of thought or deliberation put into joining the Ignite program, right? You just, in the moment, you knew, you're like, this is what I need, let's go. Didn't really realize the depth of it and some of the stuff that we're going to be working on now. I know you just had a conversation with Kim this past Monday that really opened up your next phases or your next steps on what we're going to be working on. But how did the results from that first compressed 48 hours, right? How did those results change the way you saw the next year of your business and your life?
Completely, 100%, like totally 180 on that day. Like I said, when I chatted with Kim, I was going to chat with her about Group Convert. I didn't even know what Ignite was. Like I had no interest in joining a coaching program that day. I already have a coach. So I was like, I'm good. Right.
Right.
But then she comes in and she's like, this 5-day challenge is what we do.
Right.
This is what we do. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And then she's like, we're going to break down how to change your offer. We're going to break down how to change your price. We're going to break down, and we're not going to do it with an online course. I've taken 1 million online courses that give you 100 options of how to do everything. It's like reading a self-help book. Like by the end of it, you're like, I need a nap. But this was very much, so this is very much personal. And she's like, you're going to get a success coach that's going to walk you through. And I'm like, well, what is the onboarding? Like my pitch is tomorrow. And she's like, just talk to Scott today. He'll fix your pitch. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I jumped in totally unexpected, did very little research on what Ignite was. And this was not a small thing for me either. This was the biggest investment I've made in my business to date. So don't feel like, oh, it was just no big deal for her. This was huge.
Right.
And I told Scott, I'm like, the amount of money I've invested in this, I need to make back this week or I won't be able to make the next payment. And we did. So it worked out.
Yep. And we're continuing to grow from there. So immediately once you got that increase, you you were looking for a solution. Solution was there. You took action. You got that validation back. So what do you see the next year in the business in your life looking like from before, when you had all of these different pieces and now you're starting to see a clearer picture? What does that look like for the next few months? And there's two things I know that came out of the conversation with Kim that we're going to be working on to help you now build your team and then go scale this thing.
Yeah. So the past couple of months, I've really been noticing that I don't know if it's ADD or whatever you want to call it, but I'm in a million different directions. This has given me very clear focus.
Good.
These are the things that are working in your business. Focus here. Let everything else go. So I've actually taken a hiatus from my podcast, and I've stopped in-person personal training, and I've stopped doing any sort of hourly anything. And I'm focusing only on what is working, what is delivering results to the client, and what is growing the business. And that really is 5-day challenges. And that is what Kim and what Scott and what everybody here at Ignite does. And so to have specifically tailored information here has been just dreamy, because there's so much less to sift through. You don't have to, oh, here's 10 options of how you can run it. This is the option works. Here is exactly what to do with this option. It's been such a breath of fresh air. I've loved it.
Cool. I'm going to share. So the 3 phases, right? So we've refined your offer. We got it in place. We increased the value, which then, you show up differently, your clients show up differently. Ultimately, we want that impact. So now we're going to be working on hiring some team members, right? For the in-between launches and the follow-up post-launch, right? When we're onboarding and we're going through the sales process. So we're going to be helping you, I think we already have assigned a support setter or a VA for follow-up with you. And then from there, we're going to do some work on some lead qualifying, right?
Yep.
To help streamline that process. And then we're going to start talking about running some some paid advertising to get some new blood and some new faces and some new people into your ecosystem, because you've been running these challenges for a while inside of the same group. So that strategy is tailored specifically to you. So I'm excited because your call with Kim on Monday, she messaged me and was like, yeah, Suzi, great conversation. Hey, can you facilitate the setup for the setter? Done. Angel's on board. The team's there. So I'm really excited for you over the next few weeks to months to then continue to build on the momentum that you've already had. And we know
I appreciate that. I'm going to jump in right there and just tell you guys, Scott's awesome. Like, God, I'm just so grateful that, I really did come in and just, okay, here's our onboarding process. And I was like, I don't have time for the onboarding process. And you were like, you're right, you don't have time. And you totally shifted the model for me. And then
that's so cool.
You're riding the roller coaster I'm riding. And I come in and I'm like, hey, this was a great day. This was a terrible day. And you just walk me through it all. So it's been so great to work with you. I just really appreciate the level-headedness and the directness that you have, that you're like, pull this, fix this, stop that, stop talking about that, start talking about this. It's been very
cool.
It's been a game changer. Huge progress. I really appreciate all of your help.
Well, thank you for the accolades. It's been a pleasure working with you too. So we'll wrap up here in just a minute because I'm excited to see where you're going. So when we look big picture, right, we're going to be transforming, we're going to be building, we're going to be scaling. So if there's someone kind of sitting there going, I've got some stuff, I've got an idea, I've been on the roller coaster of sales calls, I've tried a VSL, I've done a webinar, I've now done, so I'm biased here, but to your point earlier, here's the option because we know it works, right? The challenge format, right? So I've done 29 live launches now. And I don't want to evergreen it. Some people do. I love going live and having that interaction with people. So if there's people out there listening to this, to Suzi and to our conversation, to her story, what would you want to tell them if they're sitting on the fence about investing in themselves and their business in a program like Ignite?
It's like I talked about with my clients earlier. There is just a point where when you've committed enough time and money to something, you will make it happen. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been sifting through all the free webinars or reading all the free books or doing all the free things like I did for a year and a half, quit wasting your time. This is the solution that, I mean, we're within 48 hours. I had solved a problem that I'd been dealing with for 6 months. Like, we're talking immediate changes. And it's just, and the ability to check that off the to-do list. Oh my gosh, such a beautiful stress relief. So if you're on the fence, I would just say commit. You're asking your clients to commit to you, commit to yourself, and do the thing that needs to be different. If what you've been working or if what you've been doing has led you to the same results, it's time to take a different action. And this for me was very, very different. And it has absolutely been the piece that I was missing.
Suzi, you are an absolute rock star. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm excited to continue to be on your team and on your journey as we build this thing out over the next couple of months. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy mom schedule and mompreneur lifestyle, supporting your clients and building your business, taking this time to have this conversation and hopefully making an impact in some other business owners and some other online coaches, making an impact in their life by sharing your stories. So thank you so much for the time.